Okay, consent agenda. Staff recommends approval of all consent items. One vote, one motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda item A and B and C. Oh, no, B, A and B.
B.
My glasses, sorry.
I'll second that.
Do you have a second?
Yeah.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those that are disapprove? None. Vote carried unanimously. Action items. A. Gauntlet Aerospace. Mr. Smith, I think this is
So
yours.
this is a proposed sublet approval. Staff recommends approving the sublet. Gauntlet's in good shape, leases and the account's in good standing. And Mr. Mata will use this for aircraft storage.
For storage?
Right.
I want to broach a subject here that, not necessarily to drive this particular decision, but just in general about what kind of vetting that we do for potential tenants. It's kind of an ever-changing world that we live in. And I know in the old days, kind of everybody knew each other. And when we had a potential tenant coming in, probably knew by name who the person was. I don't know how much of that has changed, but I just kind of want to bring up the, food for thought about maybe a future policy that looks at doing some kind of vetting of before we sign on a new tenant or a new sublease. So I just kind of want to bring that up to the other members of the board here.
I think he's referring to maybe beyond a credit check.
So Lynn, could I ask you to address that? What is our current policy on backgrounds for sublets?
Currently, we do not vet our sublets. We do credit reports on our new tenants, and if they're individuals or businesses, they pay for a credit report. We run that, and then the lease is offered based on what their credit score is. And if it's below a certain number, then we don't offer a lease. So currently, we do not do background checks for our new tenants or existing tenants.
What would be the policy for that?
But we don't have a policy.
Don't have a
for that
policy
at this
for it.
time. What we do is Scott may be able to clarify this as well, since the sublet is in a secondary position, the primary lessor is responsible for the debt. So if the primary lessor is in good standing and we have no knowledge otherwise of the sublettor, we tend to allow our tenants in good standing we want to work with them and support them.
Scott, is this something we should put in or look into in our policies?
Is there a concern with how it's currently handled?
I believe there's a little bit of a concern in the fact that their problems become our problems. We've known that to happen.
Are you talking about subtenants?
Yes. Because eventually if the leaser doesn't take care of it, it becomes our problem.
Yes. So generally we reserve the right to approve subtenants based on our policies to make sure that they fit within our use requirements. But otherwise we don't, because then we are involving ourselves in the contract of two independent parties. And so we don't want to assume any liability or take on any liability related to their relationship. And under our consent, our tenant always remains liable for the rent and for complying with the terms of the lease. So I think that to protect the district legally, that's probably the best way to keep it. But if there are specific concerns, we can always look at those and maybe address those for the board.
Yeah, I brought it up not so much as a sublease, although that is kind of a bit of a question mark, but I was really more concerned about new leases with potential tenants that we don't have a history with.
Yeah, in that one, we are more directly concerned with because that is our contractual relationship. And so far, we have been doing a financial check. Lynn could better describe the check that she does, but for those tenants that are not like publicly traded companies, we do credit checks on. But we don't do background checks on individuals like through the state crime database. So it's just a simple credit check.
What are your thoughts about expanding on doing more than just a credit check? Such as a criminal background check, like you mentioned.
I don't know that you guys could do a criminal background check. I would have to look into that, and I'm happy to do so and come back to you. But I don't know that doing a commercial lease is grounds for doing a criminal background check.
Fair enough, yeah.
Thanks,
So-
Scott.
Yeah, would you like me to look at that?
Okay. I think so. I think
Yeah, I would think, yeah,
Okay.
take a
Yep.
peek and let us know what.
Do you consider a T hanger a commercial lease?
Yeah, everything that is not residential is commercial.
Okay, just to make sure they're in the same category, okay.
And on
So,
the leases, we still collect the rent from the primary leaser, and it's their problem to collect the rent from the subleaser.
Correct.
yes, I'm not, maybe Lynn's aware of a situation where a subtenant pays us directly.
Sometimes we've had subtenants pay us directly in part of their agreement with our tenant. Generally, that's not the case. It's more of a convenience for our tenant to not collect the money because they may not be here, and so the subtenant pays us directly.
So it's not a contract, he's just at a convenience.
Right, out of convenience. It's not in anybody's
As long as the
contract.
check
As
comes
far as
in.
collections, we would
Yeah.
go to the person that signed the lease.
Right. All of our invoices go to our tenants.
So I'm unsure if we would have access to the database, but there's a database called PLETS that the military does have access to with my guard affiliation. PLETS is just a law enforcement database. It's a quick driver's license number, name search, and it pulls up if there are any historical issues with that person.
right.
That's something we could use.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's what Scott has agreed to
Yeah, look,
to
check
see if
it out.
we're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I'll look at that.
All right,
Thank you.
to move forward,
Are we good? Huh?
Assuming we're good.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to get ahead of you.
Item B, you know, hey,
No,
we can change
need a
these.
we got approved, okay.
Did
we approve it, item A?
We did not.
motion
We did
to
not.
approve?
No, and I'll make the motion to approve the sublet to Meta with Dauntless Aerospace, hangar 77.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Vote unanimous to approve. Item A, Gotland Aerospace Hangar, sublease transfer. Boom. Supersonic.
All right, so Boom completed their testing here some time ago and has departed. They left behind some equipment that they'd like to donate to the airport in lieu of having to dispose of it. We can get utility out of that. It's 3 storage sheds and
The launch hangar or the test
a test stand.
test stand.
Right, and we can dispose of the test stand. It'll take some human labor hours, but no cost investment from us. And the utility that we'll get out of the storage facilities is of value. So staff recommends approval.
Yeah, these are containers, right?
All the containers are empty?
I believe so. I am not certain. Boyd, would you happen to know if the containers are empty? I believe they are.
No hazardous. Here, you can have it.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
I would approve it with the, understanding that there is no hazardous material or anything in it. There's not,
I was informed that they were empty.
okay, then I will second it.
Any public comment? All righty. All those in favor of, oh wait, do we have a first
Yeah.
motion? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Vote unanimously to accept the donation. Item C is a resolution of donation acceptance.
So, and my apologies on that, but I missed that in my notes and I don't have anything on this. Are you familiar, Len?
I think that this is what they just did. This resolution is accepting the donation of the boom equipment, if I'm not mistaken.
And I
Correct.
think it's on the,
It is, it's the,
yeah, it's on the back page.
yes, it's accepting the donation,
It probably
which
should
you're
have been done together.
approving, you're saying that we can accept it, and then approving the resolution saying that we've accepted it.
Okay.
So so B and C are essentially the same item.
Okay. Do we need to redo this first?
No.
No motion?
You're not a
Yeah,
D.
no. Your vote just adopted the resolution. My apologies. I should have made them one item on the agenda when we put it together. That's my fault.
All righty. Then we move on to reports. Director of Administration.
Good afternoon. These are the financials for June 30th. These are preliminary since this is year end, and it's kind of early in the month. We are continuing to add things into June, but just wanted to report out so we stay on track. And just to let you guys know, we do have the auditors scheduled for the beginning of October to come in to start the audit for our year end. The bank balance increased 74,000. Operating revenue as of right now is 104%. Operating expenses is at 91%. Fuel sales was 131,000 gallons. AR, no new tenants are over 90 days. Fitness center is at 110 members. But as I mentioned, we are continuing to add some expenses onto here just because it is year end, and we do make sure that we get everything into the proper year as we're at the
How
cutoffs.
about 810 members?
Yeah.
810
I was
members.
just gonna
Yeah.
say 110.
Yeah.
We lost a few.
Yeah. 810. Yeah. So they are continuing to grow.
We're watching you.
Yeah, right? Yep.
That's awesome. Director of Facilities.
Good afternoon, directors. I apologize. I have a bit of an ad hoc report this week. I was off site this morning. Didn't think I was going to make it back in time, but I'm here. Hopefully I'm not out of, I'd like to address Jimmy's comment about the hazardous materials, just talk about our process a little bit. In the event, when we sign a commercial lease, the tenant provides us a copy of their hazardous material business plan. Within there contains their EPA ID. If a tenant were to vacate and leave hazardous material, then that EPA ID is provided to environmental health, and those items would be disposed of under their EPA ID so that it does not affect our generator's permit.
Okay.
We would have to recover that cost from them, from the tenant leaving. But
Okay.
in my knowledge, since I've been here, we have only had that occur twice, and both were bankruptcies.
Okay.
GA tenants have to sign a hazardous material disclosure that states they either do not have reportable quantities of hazardous material, or they have to provide us the same business plan so that we would have some recourse under the same process. So we do try to protect ourselves from people just leaving hazardous material, although it does not happen often.
That's good. I'm just,
Small quantities in the GA, it does occur, and those don't affect our generator permit. And in fact, many times, if somebody has 5 gallons of oil or some material they can't get rid of, we'll get rid of it.
Well, you don't like surprises, I don't like surprises.
I don't like having to deal with it. I don't want it to trigger us into a higher tier of our generator permit, but we do have some protections
That's
if that
good,
should
I
happen.
understand. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Aside from that, we have just returned over a couple of buildings that we rehabilitated. 85A, I believe we'll be renting this month or next month. 85A is on Sabovich and Belshaw in the row where just coming into the airport. It's the one that had the boat in it for many years. We did new flooring, painted, put new restroom fixtures in there, maintained, PM'd all the electrical system, the lights, new exterior doors. We removed a leaky window, serviced all of the heat and AC, air conditioning, evaporative cooler, all those things. So it's ready to go as of the 1st. 970, hangar 970 is a hangar we recently purchased. That's also been rented as of the 1st of August to NTPS. We rehabbed, when we purchased that, it was at a discount because the door was in bad shape. We rehabilitated the door, increased the operator size from a 1/2 horse to a 1 horse, put a new operator on it. It's working beautifully now. And also PM'd all of the electrical system, PM'd the roof, made sure that there were no leaks in the roof, and went through the entire hangar. We've had 2 hangars come back recently with some seismic braces removed from them. So I don't know what the trend is on that. I think it's just a coincidence, but we did replace those as we went through them. We're currently working on 965, many of the same items. On that hangar, we're also working on the door and putting a new door operator on it. It was a hand crank. It will now be a electric crank or electric operator. That should be completed the end of next week and we'll be ready for rent. And the week following that, we will begin working on our reels on runway 12. And there will be NOTAMs issued in advance of that. Friday, we have road maintenance happening on the perimeter roads to the propulsion area. And that's all I can think of for right now.
And I got one quick question.
Sure.
Coming in on Belshaw. Weed control and spraying or something?
We spray pre-emergence and
Okay, I saw the
herbicides.
It's supposed to mean something to anybody? Because
The regulation states that we have to post signage 72 hours in advance of any spraying activities that is going to occur just for.
okay, and that message is adequate to fulfill that requirement?
Uh,
Just seemed a little lacking. Okay, I don't see anything. Am I supposed to be worried about spraying and maybe not go into this? It just seemed a little.
So the message board is to supplement there are also signs I'm going to apologize. There is a legal requirement on how far apart you space them. I believe it's 200 feet. There are also signposts along the walkways and in the areas that we
Okay,
sign
I
that explain
thought it
that.
was something to that, but the sign didn't really give me enough information to.
No, and it's not an excuse. It's just a challenge that it's very hard with the number of characters you can put in the signboard to get a descriptive message there. But it's really driven it's with the intent to drive people to ask questions, and they can call us and we can say this is what we're doing. But there are additional signs as you walk in the area.
Okay, notice them so.
Yeah, we recently did application on Airport Boulevard, and it was the same process. We put the signboard at the entrance just to draw attention, and then we place signs every 200 feet.
Got a nice test area up on Koch if you need it.
All right,
I can give you some pointers.
Floyd, back to the hangar with the boat in it. Didn't the boat didn't fit the doorway, did it? I was wondering how you got it out.
The building was not modified, and I don't know. We did not remove the boat. The tenant did, and the building was not altered in any way to facilitate moving the boat, so it was not damaged. None of our
Yeah.
repairs were to be driven by the
I'm
boat
just
being
curious.
removed. So that's all I have, and if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you, Floyd.
Are we good? Thanks, Floyd.
Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Smith, you're on.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Exciting few weeks here. One of the things was the Southwest Regional AAAE conference was held down in Newport. I was there for that. Building those relationships with all the airports in the region. Very important. It's nice because it's a much smaller, more intimate group, so there's more crosstalk, more interface. And coming out of that conference, spent quite a bit of time with our teammates from Meet and Not down there, talking about our grant assurances moving forward and our submission packages for those. Also, we've had an opportunity to make contact with 2 or 3 people that develop hangars. Now, we're not talking general aviation hangars. We're talking something for more commercial use on the flight line, vicinity 12, 13,000 square feet. We've got 11 on a waiting list right now.
For that size hangar?
Well, for a hangar on the flight line, for a commercial enterprise. And they vary. The requests vary for sizes. These developers were saying that seems to be the kind of ideal swing space for things like startups to come in, work for 2 or 3 years on a lease, and move out. The developer does it, it precludes us from fronting the money to build that hangar. Floyd and I did not run numbers hard on that, but on an absolute wag, we're probably looking in the vicinity of $3 to $6 million if we were to build it ourselves.
And obviously we can't, or we would have years ago.
Right. So the exciting thing would be we get an external enterprise to come in, we get a land lease, we have that relationship, we move forward with them. They then can basically sublet their hangar and empower our sustainability at the airport.
I would like for this board, you to work together to have some tools that attract these developers. I get the process. They want to win, we want to win. I think we can be more creative in different ways. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, that maybe would attract these a little bit more. I look at it as vacant land sitting there generating zero.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just give it away for 5 years and have something at the end, or 3, I'm just throwing a number out there, than to just watch it sit vacant. And I think we could be a little more creative, attractive, than just saying, here's our rate, well, let me take it to the board. Well, and that takes time. And you see where I'm trying to go with this board? And
absolutely. And by the way, we're in violent agreement. That's one of the reasons I'm going to things like this.
mm-hmm.
A lot of people out there, especially across the airports in Southern California, know of Mojave Air and Spaceport, but they don't understand the business case that's up here. Nobody's presented that to them. They know we test cool stuff. They know we test rockets. They don't know that there is a remarkable opportunity here at a very low lease rate to get in and do something in East Kern. They don't fully understand the great work done by people like Floyd to prep that so that permitting is fairly quick and efficient.
There's a tool. Right
So that's why I spend a lot of time on the road. That's further down this Rotary Bakersfield. That's why I went out and presented at Rotary Bakersfield, so that they would understand what the business case is out here in East Kern versus just go, yeah, Mojave. I drive by there on the way to Vegas and I see a bunch of parked airplanes.
Well, I'm talking more about where the rubber meets the road. Okay, well, they've talked, oh yeah, well, and yeah, we've got tenants that are asking. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts. How much you want? What are you looking for? What you want to, let's get down to it. Here's our rate, but we're willing to negotiate. I just feel like and it may just me being on the board too long, they kind of run into a wall. I think we lacked infrastructure information on those hangars that were going to be built east of Bravo. It seemed like there was some component missing that developer was looking for. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, we're talking about underground facilities, I think.
Yeah, and there was just some things that and this just be my perception as a board member, not that we just weren't able to help them with. You get one on the hook, you reel it in.
Oh,
He was
absolutely.
there. Something changed, and I think it's something we could have mitigated if we would have wanted a little bit more.
Mhm.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe those are answers we won't know until we dig up the ground.
Right.
But
I don't know, without going in depth into that particular case, I don't know that we could have salvaged that particular deal, but the things you're suggesting are valued.
yes, well, I don't think you can salvage it. It's gone.
Right.
Well, they wanted something that wasn't allowed.
What?
They wanted to live in that. They wanted to have,
That was one of their
That one of the-
proposals.
Well,
Right.
I think that's a hard line for us. I think we've got some regulations that
well,
unfortunately.
that's probably what killed it though.
We do.
You think so?
Yeah.
FAA wouldn't allow it.
Okay, I was under the impression that was the killer on it. But
That was one of the things.
Okay.
They got to a point where they were willing to work around that, and then concerns with easements, concerns with
infrastructure.
the various infrastructure issues, concerns with multiple sources of funding that they intended to work.
Okay.
It just, the house of cards fell into it.
Yeah,
so.
well, look, certain ones, the infrastructure and easements and stuff, are things we could help address. Now, maybe we couldn't give them what they need. I don't know. And maybe I'm just not involved with, if it's a board member to understand that, but those are things we should,
Floyd, don't we have a map of all the infrastructure on these different areas around down the runway and stuff already mapped out?
this is Bravo East Side, and I think they're,
We have probably 75 to 80% of our underground utilities mapped out, and there are certain areas, Bravo was one, where even Edison didn't have accurate records of where the easements were. So we do have that. It's easy to provide, but it is not 100% explanatory in every case. And one of the issues that they had was there was a lot of underground traffic in that area, and they had penciled in, I believe, 93 hangars. And avoiding sewer mains and Edison easements, that cut his count down significantly to where his return was not a viable option.
and to me, that should be something up front. We can't promote this, we can, but only in limited because of this. Ahead of the, well, you go find out, oh no, we can't do that. We have some limits here because of infrastructure. And again, maybe because
I mean, it's probably more your concern if you had the information mapped out for your specific area and all the infrastructure on the airport
because what is
in these areas, I'm
available for
assuming.
development there, obviously not all of it now. I mean, I don't know.
Healthy chunks are available for
Okay,
development.
I'd like us to know what chunks they are.
And we are. And,
Okay.
So that is a work in progress.
Yeah,
But we're
okay,
still-
it's one
I
of
was
those,
gonna say, are we getting as-built working in that area so we actually do know what's there? So there won't be any surprises?
During that process, yes, we did. We actually went through and manually located the Edison infrastructures, and our facility staff went through and with the surveyors and mapped out where the sewer mains were that we were unsure of. So as we went through that, shared that information for him, it did help us firm up our as-built, and we incorporated that into our GIS.
Okay.
all right, I don't mean to beat you up on it, it just seemed like,
No, it sounds
It's
like you're
valid.
working towards a solution.
yeah, I mean,
For
the future
future
we can
development.
promote, GA, south of the GA, we've got some land there that I think we can now build on. So the GA where the old storage tanks used to be, I don't know how far back you go.
It's buildable land. That's another area that Edison plays a big factor in building there, and extending the taxiways plays a big factor in building there. The cost of extending the taxiways.
You've got that information on the radar, so when that.
We do.
comes up, okay,
One of the struggles with that area is for the work that Edison has to do to provide power to it is expensive, and it's beyond somewhat beyond our control, what the cost is to Edison, which then is passed on to the customer.
That's something we can work on. I mean, obviously, these are all little obstacles, and the more it's buildable ready, that's right. Build ready, helps attract someone. You know, you start going in these developments, you need curb and gutter, and you need this, and you need this, and all of a sudden,
It becomes onerous all of a sudden.
I know we did have some budgeted money for it, and I think we pulled it out since, so we have no money to think forward with what we could do in small bites that help to make it more attractive to build on.
I don't believe we budgeted any this
I
year
know
for that.
We pulled it out, yeah.
Floyd, we have a general California licensed contractor on staff, right?
Myself and Robert Lathrop, but we
B?
Huh?
We don't have an A though.
me.
Oh, you're an A as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Because some of that infrastructure work you could head.
And we do.
Yeah.
Okay, we spent enough time on it. There's people with money that want to build, but, and I realize in these times it's a little bit tough too, but what can we do to, like I say, I look at empty land, I've been looking at empty land for 38 years. Still with you.
All right, to move along, that actually sets up well for the next line, which is the Melrose event. So Melrose is a Hollywood consortium that is putting together an aerospace investment cluster to largely go after major government contracts. And we will be coming back to the board at some point in the future that for an event they would like to do in the Stu Witt Center in November. I believe it'd be very good for MASP to have it here at the Stu Witt Center. It'll be basically a sprint with multiple different companies in small groups assigned a federal contract each that they will build their proposals for, with an opportunity to hopefully bring that business out of that sprint here to Mojave. So there's multiple layers in this. It's formative right now, but the initial meeting that I had with them, they dropped in for about a 5-minute office call. 2 hours later, they left. They're absolutely impressed with the opportunities at Mojave. And growing out of that was an initial inquiry. Now we have yet to put pen to paper on a contract here, but for the laydown yard of somewhere between 10 and 20 acres for truck and trailer storage. So bringing that in is a lot of that land you're referring to, Director, that
Wouldn't need any infrastructure.
right,
Basically.
right, and the land lease is the same for us. So that's a great opportunity. Still in negotiation. Haven't put that to bed. This could be very, very big for us in multiple ways. The Hollywood side of that provides an interesting flavor. And oh, by the way, they want to consider getting involved on the Hollywood piece, coming back and encouraging filming out here. They would also like to do something that I think is a little creative. They want to draw maximum attention to Mojave. And this is a very interesting external input. We'll see what it looks like as it goes into planning, if it ever does. But they would like to bring some sort of festival to Mojave where the public will drawn out here to see this little gem in the desert. So that's very early in their conceptual planning. We'll see where that goes further. Frankly, I have mixed emotions on that one, but we'll see what they deliver as this thing matures. The VAST visit was remarkable. Their Long Beach operation is huge. They're up to about 950 employees. They are planning on putting their new space station in orbit next year on a
I want
Falcon
to
Heavy.
public explain VAST to be explained.
So that is a aerospace, access to aerospace firm that's based out of Long Beach. 3 years ago, plus, minus, there were about 20 employees. They're now at 950. Very well funded, strong investors, and they are building the next generation space station for the United States as a private enterprise. So, and by the way, if you happen to be out in our test stands and you look at the VAST test stand, there is an identical replica of their space station out there in the stanchions. They're going through various checks, pressure testing, etc.
If you guys would ever like a tour, we can arrange that.
Really?
Awesome, thank you. I was absolutely blown away at this event, and blown away at also from the CEO to the director of ops for VAST. They absolutely idolize the support that we have been given them, and that's largely Ariel and her team that is doing that rock star work every day. Floyd and the facility side, making sure they're set up out there in the desert, and pretty soon they're bringing an L-39 here and parking it, and Harold's going to have to sell them some gas. So quite a team effort that really sets conditions for VAST success, and I was humbled to be the guy who got his hand shaken telling us what a great job we're doing for them. Rotary Bakersfield, their downtown Rotary Club, I had the opportunity to speak there this past week. Very well received. A lot of people in the room that once again knew that Mojave was here, but really didn't understand the business case of Mojave. Didn't understand the fact that that land is pretty darn reasonably priced if you're somebody that's looking at a startup or an investment opportunity. So that was a great outreach as well that I think will deliver things in the future. Along with that, meeting with Vince Fong and staff of his, working on federal grants and earmarks coming forward. So we may be able to get some targeted earmarks. These are still months out, but would happen in this calendar year, next calendar year. Along with their support for our discretionary grants with the FAA. So we're going to get congressional support. The apportioned grants are just that, they're apportioned, but any discretionary funds from the FAA, we now have the congressman stepping forward and endorsing our position to garner those funds. So I think that's a very good thing. And then finally, at the hard work of Chris and Nicole, we're still in the planning phase, but it kind of excites me because it'll take some of the burden off of ops here, which is where most of this burden drops on. And that's that go to a cohesive scheduled tour program here that will actually charge for. The reason we're charging for it isn't so much wanting to monetize the tour program. It's what we don't want to do is have public signups, say, through our website for a tour program. And if you don't charge anything, it's not uncommon that no one shows up. They have no skin in the game. So a fairly reasonable price. Figures are still in the banter phase, but call it about $10 a person. In all candor, I bounced that off my wife, and she said, everywhere we take the kids, we pay for the tours. We never get free tours except on military installations. So the reality is people would be comfortable with that. We've had people do walk-ins and offer to pay for tours. This way we could have a scheduled battle rhythm. A proposal, far from set yet, would be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday tour. Maybe early on we start with Thursday and Saturday and see if we're filling those up. The tours right now would just be in our van, so we'd be maximized at 12 people. And then if people really want to book, we can book out. And we could, with this structure, also potentially look at if individuals really wanted to come out with a larger group, we could structure a tour for them. And I still, as part of my outreach, am doing, for lack of a better term, I call them executive tours, but I do those personally. That doesn't burden ops other than the fact I steal keys from them. So I think we could get some strong visibility there, and that tour program isn't just moms and pops looking around the desert. At times, those are fundamental outreaches that turn into that business case that you referred to, Director Bellinger. So subject to your questions, it's my overall report this meeting.
Tours, that's interesting. We've had them in the past, and for staffing reasons and other reasons, we did away with them.
It's a work in progress. I don't want to ready, fire, aim here. I want to carefully look at this thing and move in a disciplined battle rhythm type fashion. One of the things that we are thinking of, and again, this is still a work in progress, one of the things we're thinking of is, hey, could we work with the Mojave Transportation Museum, get a few of their volunteers to be trained up as docents so that could support the tour. I do want the driver in the vehicle to be a Mojave driver. I do want, we're not expecting to take them on the control movement area of the flight line, but pretty much everywhere else, boneyard, land side, see the air side from the parallel. But
Yeah, I'm just thinking creatively, maybe throw a little bit of marketing in there.
oh, of course,
You never know where that message could go. Hey, did
Right.
you know?
yeah, throughout this, you know, and the tour will expose them to everything, including, as you brought up, hey, the fact that there's a lot of land here and it's fairly reasonably priced, and somebody in that tour could very well be related to, know of, considering a startup enterprise that may very well, may fit in our
You may
business
even
model.
get some of these that come out to take our tour
Mhm.
as a kind of a sneaky way to come and look. And
Which would be wonderful. It
Yeah,
could be as sneaky as
so
they
like I
want.
say, throw a little marketing. These are areas for potential development, and this is what we're have planned for here, here, and here. And
I can tell you, I just got back from Florida and I paid a whole lot more than $10 to tour the Space Center
I bet.
and bought a $20 hamburger while I was there.
Mhm.
Any questions?
um,
All right, sir. Guess we move on to D. We have no board committees. Comments on items not on the agenda. Board directors.
I'm good.
Everyone's good?
Good.
All right. We now move into closed session. We have to ask everyone to leave. And if you want to hang around and wait for us to come out,
Recording and
how's the weather?
recording stopped.
Everything outside here today?
You know, Dave, that's it.